All right, everybody, I would love to give you time to hang out and visit. We would love to visit too, but I know we do need to get started so that we are respectful of everyone's time here, especially our students. So we are going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please stand and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for being here with us tonight. It's a packed house. We love to see that. We love everything that we get to celebrate tonight. But before we do, we get to start off with a very exciting budget public hearing. Yes, it's exciting. And so Gary Bennett's going to start us off.
Thank you, Chair Hawkins, for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. Board of Director, Superintendent Lyon. Tonight, we're here for the budget adoption hearing. On May 15th, we had a fiscal update and a budget overview with both the board and budget committee. 8 days later, we had our official budget committee meeting where the budget committee approved the budget as presented. We did a detailed overview of the budget and honestly spent more time digging into the budget than I've seen in the past. And so that was great. Since then, I've had no additional questions from the board or the budget committee. And if there are no further questions, I'd recommend we go to public comment.
We have no public comment.
That's my question.
Okay, if there is no public comment and no further questions, we have 3 resolutions tonight. 1 to adopt the budget as approved by the budget committee, 1 to appropriate funds, and 1 to impose taxes.
Wonderful. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the whole budget committee. As you said, it really was a much more transparent and easy to follow process for us. I think better questions were asked. And as a whole, I know we understood it much better than we ever have in the past. And I hope that translates to the community being able to understand it better as well. So thank you for that. I know it's a lot of work, a lot of modifications. We really appreciate it.
Well, it was great. And actually, I learned a fair bit from that too. And I meant to say in my talking points that I took the comments and considerations of the board and the budget committee about things that could be changed in the process and with the budget document, and we'll make those improvements next year. So it works both ways where we go through it, we do the best we can, we learn, we get back on it, and we go forward. So I thought it was a good conversation, and I appreciate all the input.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Are there any resolutions? Yep.
Chair Hawkins, I move to approve the resolution adopting the budget for the 2024-2025 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Chair Hawkins, I move to approve the resolution making appropriations for the 2024-25 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Chair Hawkins, I move to approve the resolution imposing and categorizing taxes for the 2025 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, up next is our consent agenda. Is there another motion to approve the consent agenda? Any one of you?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
You both second.
Did you get somebody? Krista was the first second.
Pick one.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, that's most of the boring business of the board today, but we are going to move on to our spotlight on section. It is most, we still have policy updates. So for that, we are going to have Katie Hartman join us at the podium. Thank you.
Board Chair Hawkins, Superintendent Lyon, and members of the board, thank you for having us here tonight. Our spring sports program represented Sherwood High School in an awesome manner. You all have the lists in front of you, so I won't spend a ton of time going through that. We'll just highlight on some quick things before I get to talk about these awesome athletes. Our baseball team, second in league, they made it to the second round of playoffs. Same with our softball team, second in league. They made it to the quarterfinals of state playoffs. Our baseball team, Nolan Umlant, conference pitcher of the year. He wasn't able to be here tonight. Our boys track and field team were the state champions, which is awesome. We have a couple representatives here tonight, so I'll talk about them in a bit. Our girls track and field team, we had John Mantalis was coach of the year, and we have an athlete here. I'll talk about her in a minute. Our boys golf team got first in league, sixth at state. We have a representative here I'll talk about in a minute. Our girls golf team got first in league, seventh at state. Coach McDonald got coach of the year. Campbell O'Connell was conference player of the year. She couldn't be here tonight. Our girls tennis team got first in league and first at the district meet and sent 7 players to advance at state. And we have a player here that I'm going to talk about in just a minute. And our boys and girls lacrosse teams both got second in league and both went on to postseason play. So all in all, our spring sports teams had an awesome time. So first up here is Drew Smith. Drew was a part of the state championship track team. Drew throws the javelin. He was first in state in the javelin. He also was the conference field athlete of the year for the league. And Drew is headed to Duke University next year to continue to throw the javelin. So we are sad to see him go, but excited for his future endeavors. He also, I'm going to share this quick story of Drew about the state meet. He was the thrower to throw right after one of the javelins hit one of the field workers in the leg. So Drew had to wait a bit. And then I think right after that, I think was your farthest throw that you had. So it was to your benefit maybe, but yeah, so mentally tough, was able to push through, and 197, is that what it was? Nice. Our next person that also was part of the state championship track team is Andrew Walatich. Andrew got first in the 400, 6th in the 200, and 6th in the 4x1 relay. We are lucky that Andrew is a junior and he gets to come back and run for us next year. So we're excited to have him back. Next to him is Cohen. Cohen Gladheim is on our boys golf team. First in league, 6th at state. Cohen was conference player of the year this year, and he was one of the ones that helped him finish 6th at state overall. So we're happy for him. He is not going to be here next year. He is a senior and he is going to golf at Redlands next year. Next to him is Sky Whitson. Sky is a part of our girls track and field team. And Sky was named Conference Field Athlete of the Year for our conference. And Sky throws the javelin as well, and she got 3rd at state. So she's a junior. We get to have her back again next year. And next to Sky is Paige Evans. And Paige Evans is a member of the girls tennis team. And our girls tennis team is dominant. They win league in our conference every year. And I think Paige, since you were sophomore, you and your doubles partner, Paige Bittner, who is not here, have won the conference every year, correct? Yep, won the conference every year, and then they've gone on to state. So they are a dynamic duo, and they are known as the Pages amongst the coaches in the league. So I'm extremely impressed and happy for all of these athletes up here. And I'm especially wanted to give a shout out to our seniors, who this was their last day of school today. And I'm so glad that you came here, as I know many of you are going to the senior sunset tonight. So thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me brag about you for a little bit. And thank you for being great representatives of the high school.
Yeah. Well, we want to congratulate all of our spring athletes, even the ones that couldn't be here tonight. We are always so proud of all of our students, but it's amazing to have you come here and share your accomplishments with us. Many of us have gotten to see you guys through the years perform, and we wish you the very best in the near future. And we're excited that we get to at least keep a couple of you guys too for one more year. As always, you guys are welcome to stay here and join us, but if you have senior sunset or other things you'd rather do than be at a board meeting, we will also allow you to be excused. But thank you so much for being here. And thank you for the sweatshirts. Congratulations, guys. All right, it's now time to recognize our 2023 to 2024 retirees. Steve is going to take the podium, but before he does, I just wanted to say thank you to every one of you for your dedication to this district. Every one of you plays a role in these students achieving everything that they do, and you're all a part of what makes this district so great. And so we are so grateful for your service to this community, and we are excited to hear your presentations.
So good evening, Board Chair Hawken, Board of Directors, Superintendent Lyon. Tonight, the district administration will be honoring a handful of retirees. And we just want in advance to thank all of our retirees for all of their years of dedication and hard work, and just for the difference you've made in the lives of the kids in Sherwood. So I am going to kick us off by recognizing an employee who's been with the district for 33 years. Marianne Thunderhide, would you come join me up here? And I promised her I would not be mean. So I grew up in a family of all boys, and she's kind of the surrogate, one of the surrogate sisters that I never had, including the teasing. So I can pick on her just a bit, but I promised I won't do that tonight. So Marianne grew up in Newberg, Oregon, where she's probably best remembered for her basketball prowess on the court at Newberg High School and then George Fox University. In fact, I have heard she still holds some records. I'm not sure what those are. And I think she told me that, so it may or may not be true. After earning her teaching license, Marianne took her first teaching job in the small town of Sherwood, Oregon, and she has stuck. She has never left. Marianne served as a PE teacher and mentor at Sherwood Middle School, where she's remembered for building long and strong relationships with her colleagues, her students, and her students' families. In 2006, she was unlucky enough for me to be hired as an administrator at Sherwood Middle School. Marianne was one of the first people to welcome me there with just her warm smile and her genuine friendship. She very quickly moved up to a dean of students role and then later to an associate principal position. And I don't have time to go into all the stories tonight, but I have so many fond memories of both of us just laughing until we were like wiping tears. It was just, those were fun days. If you don't already know, Marianne communicates well through body language, often not saying a word, yet being completely clear about what she's thinking. On one particular day, we were interviewing a student in my office. I had one of those moments during which my past and my present collided. I was talking to a student and I needed to refer to Marianne. And so I turned to her and said, Ms. Fund. And then there was this long pause as I was trying to remember her name. And I ended with Miss Funderburg, and I need to ask you a few questions. The minute I said Funderburg, I thought, that didn't sound quite right. And I looked over at her and she had her head tilted and she's looking at me. She has this look like, what was that? Well, then I started laughing. It was all over. I started laughing. She started laughing. And this poor kid is looking at us like, what planet are you guys on? And what is happening right now? It was all over. The questioning never really happened. It was also during those first years that Marianne had a tragic loss in her life. And it was the first time for me to be able to come alongside of her at that time, for me to realize how those kinds of moments add depth to relationships. And then later when I lost my dad, Marianne and Penny Solomon, Gary Bennett, and Heather Cordy showed up for me in those moments. And again, there's a depth that comes into relationships during those times that are unlike at any other time. A few of the things I will always cherish, as I recall working with Marianne, are the way she cares deeply for others, her love for kids, her ability to push back, but respectfully and creatively and typically with a solution, and her ability to adapt to change. One of Mary Ann's colleagues stated, "I've always appreciated Mary Ann's willingness to be a support for me during the years as an administrator in Sherwood. From my very first days at Ollie, Mary Ann has been checking in to help answer questions, make sure that I know what to expect at various events, and providing me with feedback and suggestions along the way. She's always been someone that I can go to when I need advice, and I appreciate the perspective she brings to every one of our conversations. I will miss working with her on a regular basis, but I'm thankful to know that I still have her cell phone number if I need her help while she's on the golf course next year." Another stated, "I'm fortunate to have had Mary Ann as my boss in 2 different buildings. First, when I was a teacher at Middleton, and years later when I served on her admin team at SMS. Mary Ann has been an invaluable mentor and has always believed in me. I've learned so much from her over the years. One of her greatest strengths is her ability to connect with others and build relationships. She's taught me how to lead with a people-first mentality. Mary Ann is so wise and has the best advice and sense of humor. I can't begin to tell you how many big belly laughs we shared in her office over the years. Mary Ann is someone who truly made a difference in the lives of those around her, and she will be greatly missed, but her legacy will live on." No truer words were ever spoken. Mary Ann, I just want to thank you so much for the positive difference you've made in the lives of so many people over the years. You have to stay up here and I get to sit down because Gary Bennett wants to say a few words as well.
You ready? Okay. So round 2 for Mary Ann. She loved the spotlight. That's why I wanted to do this for her as her final gift. So when I was a new principal at SMS, Mary Ann was the associate principal, and I have my 2 first memories of that job are, one is walking in and seeing that there was a drive-through window in my office, which was sort of an odd thing. The other was knowing that the person who was in charge of student management and student discipline in the district had a pair of handcuffs hanging on the back of her door. And I thought, you know what, this is going to work out great. When Mary Ann and I started working together, she'd served as an AP for a very short period of time, and I'd never served as a principal. After we started talking, we realized neither of us actually had a license to do the job we were doing, largely because TSPC was backed up, not because we hadn't done the schooling. And we looked at each other and thought we have to be the least qualified team in the entire state. And we had some good laughs about that. But we made a great team. And some of my favorite memories in all of my education time are working with you at SMS. I came in with some ideas about what to do, and you really knew how to get them done and how to do them. You are so perceptive and thoughtful and truly amazing on the human side of leadership. You knew that staff, and you still know your staff today as individuals and as a whole. You're among the strongest, if not the strongest leader I know when it comes to really understanding people. And she would listen to my grandiose ideas and plans, and she would just listen and smile. And then a day or 2 later, she would say, "Gary, are you open to some coaching?" And she would tell me with honesty and kindness what I needed to hear. Those of you who know me well know I'm not terribly perceptive. Mary Ann probably picked up on that quickly and knew she needed to help me out with that. But you know, I was grateful for your advice then, but I still use that phrase today. Are you open to some coaching when I need to get into conversations with people in my personal life, my kids, at work? It's just a perfect example of Mary Ann, the way she enters into what would be a hard conversation. And it's one of the many things I learned. One of the pieces of advice Mary Ann gave me, are you open to some coaching conversations, was around that I could tend to be a bit long-winded when I was presenting. So we're going to be here a while. So we came up with a hand signal. Do you remember the hand signal? I remember it. It was, this is your sort of starting to ramble. This is your rambling more, and this is zip it right now. Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. But it was good advice to me, and it helped me greatly in my career, and it became a joke between us, but her willingness to tell me that was very helpful in the way she did it. Mary Ann's ability to build a culture is really second to none, and when it came to combining 2 middle schools into one, she was the perfect candidate for the job. This task would have been a beast without COVID. You had a large school that wasn't designed for middle schools. It's hard to supervise. You had to bring 2 staffs together, most of whom were perfectly happy with being in 2 schools, more than likely. And along with all the challenges, there were huge opportunities. She led the transformation process, which dealt with construction and remodeling to make it suitable for middle schools, the building schedule and middle school model, elective pathways, personnel, et cetera. And she served as the principal of both schools at the same time. She was working tirelessly and effectively to create this culture, and we had some amazing plans in place. And then the pandemic hit, which turned education, as you know, upside down, inside out, all around. And then she had to combine two schools and address the unbelievable challenges of the pandemic, where schools were front and center of those challenges. Middle school kids struggled more than any other. This is true in Sherwood and across the nation. And Mary Ann skillfully led the school and her team through numerous challenges. And through it all, I've never seen a staff love and respect a leader the way they do Mary Ann. And that was so evident today at her retirement ceremony at SMS that we went to. She gets to do this twice today. But things people said about her, that they were seen and heard, they were mentored, they were coached, they were cared for, they were taken care of in both their personal and professional lives, most of them with tears in their eyes. In fact, one of the PE teachers had to wear sunglasses to even give his speech. Mary Ann spent all of her years here in Sherwood. This is incredibly rare, and this community is so fortunate to have had your service for all these years. Your legacy and impact will last long after you live. So Mary Ann, I thank you for your leadership, your commitment to doing what's right for kids, and your friendship. And I wish you in retirement good health, golf balls that fly long and straight, and quality time with friends and family. I'm going to miss you.
Miranda's up. No, I just want to say thank you. And I want to thank my staff for today. I want to thank community members, the board, exec team, just all the opportunities. And, you know, it hasn't always been easy, but that's just the nature of it. But, you know, I hope that I've always led with integrity and my values, and that, you know, the district is a better place. And I thank you for everything that you've all given me, and all the memories, and all the stories, and most of all the laughter. So thank you.
Just you. Aaron's gonna do first. Oh. All right. Good evening, Dr. Lyon, Chair Hawkins, Board of Directors. Tonight, I have the great honor to speak on behalf of our Ridges music teacher, Mr. Michael Balish. After graduating from Berklee College of Music in Boston, Michael worked as a professional drummer for several years. In 1989, seeking a new direction, he began a career in teaching. Michael taught in Tucson part-time for a couple of years before moving north to Portland in 1991. After being a substitute teacher for a few years, he was hired for his first teaching assignment in Northeast Portland. Shortly after, budget cuts led Michael to apply for a job here in Sherwood, and lucky for us, for the last 27 years, he has called Sherwood home. Michael taught at Hopkins for 16 years, Edie Ridge for 1 year, Archer Glen for 7 years, and he is finishing his career with 3 amazing years at Ridges. When visiting with a few of his students this week, they had the following things to say about Mr. Balish. It has been so fun to be in choir with Mr. Balish. We learn all kinds of fun songs, and he always teaches us the meaning of each song we sing. We get to vote on the songs we like best, and he really makes our choir practices fun. Mr. Balish knows how to play all of the instruments. You name it, he can play it. Well, at least the instruments that I know we have in the music room. I love that Mr. Balish calls us by whatever is on our shirt. One day my shirt said happy, so he called me Miss Happy for the whole class. And another time my shirt said Mickey Mouse, so he called me Mickey Mouse. I know he knows my name, but he always makes us laugh when he uses our shirt names. I'm really going to miss Mr. Balish. He is funny, but sometimes you have to listen for his jokes because most of the time they're like puns. And if you don't listen carefully, you are going to miss them. Mr. Balish makes music fun, and I always love it when it's music day. I would have to say that I completely agree. Michael has definitely created a love for music among our students, and he always strives to make music fun in every class he teaches. It has been an honor to work with Michael these past 3 years, and I know that he will be greatly missed after he retires. The contributions he has made to our district, and more specifically to our music program, will have lasting effects for years to come, and we are blessed to have had him as an important part of our Sherwood School District family. Michael, we wish you all the best as you start your retirement and you continue as a drummer in your award-winning band, Lisa Mann and her really good band. We hope that you enjoy every minute of your well-deserved retirement. Congratulations. You can, yes.
I really can't remember their names. So I tell them, you better know what you're wearing because that's what I'm going to call you. So no, yeah, it's been wonderful to be here. As I mentioned, when I took the job, I heard about a position in Sherwood. I was working in Lentz Elementary. Where's Sherwood? I know where Sherwood is now. 27 years later, I can tell you where Sherwood, and it's really been wonderful. I'm so happy to have been in this district. It's just been such a collegial place between admin, teachers, amongst the staff, just everybody. It's just been a really positive experience. I'm so happy to have been here and to be able to have my career at this place. Yeah, and some wonderful friends back there and other ones too. So thank you.
Right, at this time, I would like to introduce Casey Jebson to honor his retirees.
My retirees didn't make it tonight. Good evening, Dr. Lyon, Board Chair Hawkins, Board of Directors. When I began serving as Interim Director of Transportation, I was reminded that the most successful leaders surround themselves with great people who encourage them and help them to be the best they can be. The two retirees that I get to speak about tonight are outstanding examples of this truth. Deb Adams began her career in 1995, the same year I graduated from high school. She dedicated 29 years to ensuring students made it to school and home again safely. We estimated that she drove almost 400,000 miles in her career. She drove every type of bus, every type of student, and every type of trip in her 29 years. Deb is a giver. She made sure that her students and her colleagues knew they were loved. One example is that she would regularly bring in a tray of homemade cookies to share. I was told I'm supposed to remind everybody that it wasn't her that baked them. Her husband is the cook, but she's the one who brought them to us. My other retiree is Dave Keller. He began his career in 2018, and he started driving school bus after retiring from another career as an electrician. He brings a friendly and quick smile to everyone he meets. He found creative ways to connect with his students by sharing his passion for the 49ers and drumming with anyone who would ask. He also is a drummer, so you guys should have gotten together. These two incredible staff members are a testament to the compassionate and experienced team at Transportation, and we will greatly miss them. I am to introduce Aaron. No, Jim, sorry. If I could read my notes. Thank you.
Thank you. I get to talk a bit about Dale Garaki. Dale, you want to come up? While he's making his way here, Dale, this will not surprise you, but these comments were ghostwritten by Cheryl. At least she gets ghostwriting credits. I am lucky enough to get to say thanks to Dale Garaki for his years of service to the Sherwood School District. Dale has outlasted many directors and even outlasted me the first time I got to serve in that capacity. Unfortunately for me, he decided that 27 years was enough, and he left the second time while I still supervised him. Seems I might have run him off. Hope not. Dale and I teased each other frankly, quite a lot. But we also had a great friendship. And most of our conversations started with a recap of whose kids were doing what. And we really couldn't get down to business until that was settled. And that was, I mean, every week we talked about it. And one of the things that I appreciate so much about Dale is how important his family is to him. And frankly, just how proud he is of his boys. Dale's contributions to our school district were invaluable, and his presence has been greatly missed. Often people talk about when someone leaves, they take their institutional knowledge with them. And usually they're talking about culture and stories and the history of a building or a history of an organization. Dale literally walked out with institutional knowledge of this district. He knew every system, every quirk of every system, and how to make them all work together. And we have a great team here, but his presence is missed every single day. He's also missed from a friendship perspective. And here's what a couple of his coworkers had to say about him. Oh boy. Ian said, "Dale, I appreciate our morning conversations. You were always a great listener. I also learned so much about maintenance thanks to you. I'm very happy for your retirement. Enjoy every minute." Here's another one. "Dale is a down-to-earth, generous, considerate, hardworking, kind-hearted, honest, and sincere person with a clear sense of right and wrong. When he started with the words, quote, 'Now let me tell you something,' you just sat back and listened to his stories and pearls of wisdom. I've had the pleasure of staying in touch with Dale over the last year, and I hope that continues. He's still tolerating all the grandkid pictures and crazy cat stories, and thankfully, he's still answering our calls as we navigate without him." That was from Cheryl, who spent the last 6 years working closely with Dale. So Dale, please know that your legacy will continue to inspire us and your contributions will not be forgotten. We wish you all the best and hope you have a retirement filled with family, joy, relaxation, and new adventures.
Well, I understand that Steve's retiring pretty soon and Mr. Lyons. And what I found out when I first retired is wearing pants is overrated. So remember that. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to introduce Aaron Gonzalez-Randalls.
Okay. She wants me to be quick, so I'll take a really long time with this one. I'm just kidding. So good evening, Chair Hawkins, members of the board, and Superintendent Lyon. I have the honor tonight of celebrating the incredible career and work of Joanne Balish. Joanne works in one of the most demanding positions in our school district as a behavior instructional assistant, supporting students who need the most help to access their education. Over the past 8 years, Joanne has been more than just a behavior IA. She's been the epitome of patience, resilience, and unwavering dedication. One of my favorite things about Joanne is that whenever I see her, she shares a heartfelt story about her students that she works with. It's clear that she loves the kids and the work that she does, and her passion is evident to everybody that works with her. Joanne has the remarkable ability to find the silver lining every single day in every situation. She turns challenges for students into opportunities and always gives them the chance to reset and try again. Her unique blend of fun and structure ensures that students know that she means business. Yet she always finds a way to get them back on track. Her talent for seeing past the behaviors and recognizing each student's potential has been one of her greatest contributions to our district. Joanne builds trust and strong relationships, allowing all students to thrive with her support. Her impact extends beyond her students, though, and she has had a tremendous amount of impact on our staff as well. She's been a resource for them, sharing her expertise and supporting them generously. Every team that she has ever worked with speaks highly of her and never wants her to leave and asks her to come back and work with them more. She's been really a pillar of our behavior team through the years and across the district. She's impacted every school and many, many students here. A colleague once shared that even on the toughest days, Joanne would end each day with a laugh, no matter what chaos ensued during the school day. They shared that Joanne's resilience and positivity has left an indelible mark on us all. I couldn't agree more with that. Every conversation with Joanne leaves me smiling. And that's a unique quality that I can't say about most people. So that's, yeah.
Thank you.
Not every conversation. As Joanne embarks on this new chapter in retirement, we're excited for her to enjoy her retirement in some sunny weather, far away from Oregon's cold and rain. Joanne, you leave behind a legacy of compassion for our students, dedication, and really just excellence in the work that you've done. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us and for our students and the staff around you. Thank you. We'll miss you so much, but we wish you all the best in your retirement. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And I am, let's see, being followed by Marlene Carroll. You're nervous. Ooh.
Well, I'm not sure what you're gonna say.
All right, it's going to be a long one. Okay. I am so excited to celebrate the remarkable career, and I will try to keep it together, and retirement of this extraordinary educator, mentor, and leader, Miss Penny Psalm. It's truly a unique opportunity when you get to recognize somebody who you deeply admire so much, their wisdom and their dedication to community and public service. When I think of Penny, one word comes to mind, and that's mentorship. And anyone who knows her probably thinks of the same word. Penny's ability to mentor and coach is unparalleled. She has an incredible knack for helping folks recognize their strengths and build upon them. And her teacher, Miss Emily Smith, shared much of this with us. She shared, as a teacher under her guidance, I always knew that Penny wasn't there to point out what I was doing wrong. Instead, she was there to highlight what was going right and how I could do even better. Penny, you have been the beacon of positivity and encouragement, helping us all grow and thrive. One of the many things Penny is admired for is her joy for children, and the joy they bring to her soul is truly contagious. You feel it when Penny is around children. Emily also shared a really beautiful memory that captures the essence of Penny's student-centered approach. She said, on that unforgettable day, March 13th, 2020, amidst the chaos of an impending shutdown and a half-empty classroom, Penny spontaneously turned a stressful day into a moment of laughter and excitement when she ran into her classroom and told the kids and Emily, "It's snowing." She filled the room with laughter and reminded them all to embrace the moment and find joy in the little things. So Penny, your joy for these small moments has been a gift to all of us. And the way that you embrace the essence of children and their joy has really inspired us. Amy Mitchell also reminisced about the many memories she shared with Penny, highlighting the blend of intense dedication and lighthearted fun that define their relationship. Even in the midst of intense parent meetings, Penny's resilience shone through. And laughter wasn't far behind. Amy shared one of her favorite stories with me to share tonight. She said, one of my favorites was when Penny and I had a pretty intense parent meeting, and I could tell something was off with her. Okay. After the meeting, I asked her what was wrong. She looked at me very serious. I'm going to try. Okay. And mentioned that just prior to the meeting, she fell. It gets better. She fell coming up the stairs. Sorry. Gotta find my place. Okay. I just remember pausing and staring at her. And the first words out of my mouth should have been, "Are you okay?" But instead I said, "Do you think we can watch your fall on the video camera?" We still laugh about that to this day. But that truly summarizes our relationships. Intense moments were always eased with laughter, and we always found a way to make the hard work fun. Penny, we all thank you for your ability to balance seriousness with humor. You make even the toughest moments more bearable, and that has brought us all closer. Mrs. Scrivener shared about Penny's dedication to our students. She notes, Penny also gave me so much needed support with many students. There was a mischievous student who once dumped all the dominoes down his pants during class. Penny, ever patient and understanding, sat with him during recess, helping him clean each domino with Clorox wipes before returning them to the bin. Despite his antics, she saw his charm. The same student was later seen walking down the hall carrying his half-eaten cereal and dripping milk all the way and explaining, "I come from a big family of clumsy people. I'm sorry about the milk." Penny's gentle guidance and sense of humor turned the mishap into a memorable lesson in responsibility and kindness. How Penny leads in moments like this was with love. She loves the kids that are hard just as much as the kids that are easy. Libby noted, she has given so much to so many of us along the way. Penny, we thank you for that. Allison Bassich highlighted Penny's unwavering commitment to putting students first, especially during the challenging times of COVID-19. Penny, your calm, compassionate leadership helped us navigate through unprecedented times, ensuring that our neediest students received the support they deserved. Your grace and problem-solving skills were instrumental in bringing students back to in-person instruction. And that passion and deep dedication to students' well-being is a lesson that we will carry on for years to come. There are so many more stories that I wish I could share with you all tonight. Like the time that Penny convinced the entire admin team that she was a Sherpa prior to education, or when she first met Amanda and refused to open the door unless she promised not to hug her. Penny, as you step into retirement, know that your legacy will continue to inspire and guide us. You have touched the lives of countless students, teachers, and staff, and you left a mark on us. Your leadership, compassion, and joy has made our school and district better, and I think we're all just so grateful for you. Okay, it wouldn't be a speech coming from me unless I brought in some research. So, okay, they say that a good teacher positively impacts 3,000 students throughout their career. And that's based on the average teacher working about 15 years. In doing some rough math with your 40 plus years, you've positively impacted over 8,000 students. And that's a really big deal. You have shown us all what it truly means to dedicate a life to public education. So, congratulations on your very well-deserved retirement. I hope this next chapter is filled with the same laughter, wisdom, love that you have so generously given to students, staff, and the world of public ed. Do you want to say something?
I will say something. I just want to thank the district for all of the opportunities for me to learn and grow in my career. I really appreciate that. I want to thank my mentors, some who are in this room here tonight. I want to thank my colleagues who made coming to work fun every day and just were there through the good times and through some really hard times. And the support of our team has gotten a lot of us through this, and it's really made work fun. And I also want to thank some of these staffs that I work with, SMS for many years, Laurel Ridge for a few years, really meaningful years, and then Hopkins and Hawksview. And those staff have made me a better person. Just watching the love and the care that the staff has for their children, that their students in this district is really impressive. And it made me want to come to work to help to serve them in the role that I had. And the last 2 years have just been amazing to be all throughout the district. And the people that I work with in the teaching and learning department right now have been incredible, and just have a passion and love for learning and for kids. And I think this district is an amazing place to work. Obviously, I've stayed for a long time, and just the people that are here just make it a great place. So just thank you for the opportunities, and just for all of your love and care through the years, personally and professionally.
All right. Well, I also couldn't get up here and not talk about Jeremy. So, I'll try not to cry. Okay. So for those who don't know, Dr. Lyon likes to give me and others a little pep talk before I get up, and you might have just heard it before I head to the podium during board meetings. And so we had some of these words of wisdom put on some mugs for you, because he also only drinks coffee until like 4 p.m. And then maybe water, I don't know. But so we figured these would be put to good use. Let's see. This is one of my favorites. It says, "The board is getting tired. Be succinct." We'll make you all one. This is the classic that you just heard. Be brief. And, you know, an oldie but a goodie that comes out often is keep it short. So when he leans over and says something right before I get up, it's usually one of these three things. Okay. All joking aside, I think I speak for all of exec and the administrative team when I say thank you. Thank you for the impact and your devotion to Sherwood School District. You did not have to come here and you did not have to spend 2 years with us. That was a choice that you made, and that choice made an incredible impact, a tremendous impact on us and this community. So I appreciate that you saw our strengths, and you led us with honesty, a very good sense of humor, and a wisdom that I believe comes from the decades of dedication to public schools, but also the dedication to cultivating leaders, because that is where your heart is. With the passing of the levy, and the Sherwood School District will forever be changed. And that is in large part because of you. So we hope that your re-retirement is filled with joy, travel, and the same sense of fulfillment and calmness that you really provided to us these past 2 years. On a personal note, I really appreciate your mentorship and your encouragement, your wise words most of the time. But you will be deeply, deeply missed. And with that, I want to turn it over to Director Hawkins to share a little more.
Thank you. I would look at you and talk off the cuff, but I'll cry. We all know that about me, so I won't do that. It's my pleasure to recognize Dr. Lyon. He came into the Sherwood School District filled with positivity and energy. And boy, did he not know how much he was going to need that over the next couple of years. And truthfully, he spent the next 2 years leading, I think, the only way that he knows how, with just grace and respect and transparency and a sense of humor. But really his wisdom carried us through many, many very difficult situations. And like Marlene said, he really didn't have to come here and he really didn't have to stay. I think as soon as we found out the situation we were in, every one of us said to him at some point, like, are you going to stay? Like, are you going to stay and help us? Because we don't know what we're about to move forward into. So I am incredibly grateful for that. I know in your time here, you also really took the time to re-engage with families, with students, with athletics, with arts, with activities, with community members that hadn't felt heard in a long time. You really reformed relationships that were fractured. And it made a huge impact. Not even just the levy, even right now, as we face having a new superintendent, I have people reaching out wondering, will the new superintendent want that? I gotta look at you. Anyways, we wish you the happiest retirement. I know you're excited to get back to Ellen and Texas, and I am so excited for you. But we will miss you. I will miss you. And I will let the rest of the board say a few words and not cry. Whatever works. I didn't give him. I need a minute.
Dr. Lyon, it's God, I always cry when other people cry, so stop looking at me. I don't have a lot to say that would really do the honor, for you. You came out of retirement. I don't know who would do that. I wouldn't do that. To come back and to come to Sherwood and to just to help us get through what was a surprising last minute notice, and you took on that role very quickly for us, and we were so grateful to that, and you really hit the ground running, and it was not long before we just started to see real change in this district. And it went from feeling so heavy to just feeling really positive very quickly. And that's a huge testament to your skills and leadership and dedication to what it is you do, which is, without really even thinking about it, just caring for other people and wanting the best for people. And then when the budget crisis hit, Abby's right. We were all like, what's he gonna do? Because the plan was that you were only gonna be here for a year, a short time. And I don't know what we would have done had you left. And you had every reason and every right to head back into your happy retirement, but you sacrificed another year of your time. And that's what it was. It was a sacrifice. And we all recognize that. And we're grateful for that because you really saw us through, and we wouldn't be here 100%. I know in my heart, we would not be here without you, without your help. So I will always be grateful to you. My kids still have a few years left here, and I know that you are leaving the district in a good spot. And I'm thankful for that for my kids. And I'm sure that the many parents out there are thankful for that as well. So thank you for your service.
All right, I'm gonna try and be a stone cold killer here, but and then I'll cry like when it's really inappropriate somewhere else, but our time has been very full circle and serendipitous in a way of starting a long time ago and ending up here now. It makes me feel like things don't just happen. Things happen the way they're supposed to happen. And you coming in, how you came in, there was no one better to do it. And you were meant to be here, and you were meant to help this district when you didn't have to. And I remember you saying early on, you said, I just have more gas in the gas tank. And I can't help but feel like we left you with your gas light on the side of the highway right now, like a year too early. So, but you did it. I mean, you came in and you helped us in the most trying time. I don't know the history necessarily after graduating high school, but I can't think of a more tumultuous time in this district, probably in the last year or two. And getting back on our feet. And you were the perfect person to do it. Your leadership is so recognized and appreciated. And it's just, you are a beloved figure in this district, and you will be missed. And I'm going to cry, so I'm going to stop. But there are hardly words to do it justice when you have to sit up here and talk in front of people. But just know that I believe you were here for a reason, and it worked out, and you saw us through a tough time, and it was, can't pay you back for that. So thank you.
So, Jeremy, I'm going to tell a story. Because we heard so many things about you, which are absolutely true. But I was, I don't know, I was sitting in the audience at a board meeting, and you appeared at that meeting and spoke. And I think it was the one where you were going to be the new interim superintendent. And I just listened very carefully as an audience member. And then I knew Sue Hecker pretty well. And I went afterwards, I cornered Sue and I said, where, Sue, in the world did you find this man? It was like a diamond in the rough. And Sue may be listening tonight. She may be watching this, but it was just crazy how it all fell together. And just that one meeting, I watched that, and that prompted me to kind of take some action to work with you. And I'm honored to say that I had the short time to be here and watch you change this community with help. But that's what a leader does. And you as a leader change this community for the better, and are continuing to pay it forward to ensure that we will carry on. So I'm just, it was a pleasure to be here for the short time. And you will be missed. Thank you so much.
I'll just say a couple of quick things. I mean, so 2 years ago, obviously I wasn't on the board yet, but watching from the outside, and this is a tough couple of years for the district. And when Heather had decided to leave, and we were all kind of surprised by that. I was surprised by that. There was a lot of worry. I mean, there was a lot of us in the community just going, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? We're going to be okay. It was already kind of a hard time. And when your name came up, everybody's like, do we like him doing this? I'm like, oh no, we're going to be okay. Like, so those of you who don't know, Jeremy was the superintendent out in Hillsborough. And so I had the time of working as a teacher out in Hillsborough at the time. I didn't know Jeremy real well out there, but he was highly regarded. And so when your name came up, it's one of those things where you just know, like, no, it's going to be fine. Jeremy's one of these guys who, like, he's a true believer in public education. Like, you're one of those people I always knew you did this job because you believe in the institution of public education, period. Right? That's you. That's you to your core. That's why you're here. That's why you decided to spend 2 years in Sherwood. And I knew that immediately. And that's when I knew immediately we were going to be okay. And you have led us through 2 very difficult years in Sherwood. And like Hans, I've only had a short time to work with you, but it's been a pleasure, and it's fun to see kind of things go full circle, and be able to work with you again. And I wish you so much joy and happiness in your retirement, and look forward to seeing you at some point in the future. I'm sure between me going to Texas and you coming up, I'm sure we're running into each other again. Thank you, Jeremy.
First and foremost, I got to come to Sherwood. It was an incredible gift to be given the opportunity to come here and to spend 2 years here, and to get to know all of you. And it's true, and Krista said it, when I got here, things were heavy. They were heavy. And I was out there in that audience and wondering, what is this heavy load that this wonderful district carries? And I found out very quickly that actually people in this district are perhaps the most collaborative of any group that I've ever worked with, and they love to laugh. And Michael, I was in your music classroom, and the joy that you bring to those children is just amazing. It was so cool to watch you in action. And Dale, you doing your thing in down in maintenance and facilities. And like Jim said, the institutional knowledge is amazing. And Penny and Mary Ann, you two are just off the charts. I mean, there is something deeply, deeply meaningful about 2 people who have given their whole professional careers to one district. And hats off to you. And Mary Ann, you went through a heck of a time as the nation has done with middle school education. And you never flinched. You never flinched. And I really admire you for that. It's in good shape, and we are moving forward. It has been an amazing privilege to work with all of you. And things are different in Sherwood here. I see Kyler in the back of the room, and we have a relationship with the organizations of employees in this district that is absolutely different than anywhere else. And it's collaborative, and it's respectful, and it's built on trust, and it's built on this idea that there's no problem that we can't work out. So when I enter that, how can you go wrong? And I really do love laughter. And I think we all at times take ourselves too seriously. I know I do. I had that moment in my career where I did, for sure. And I realized, there's nothing like laughter and a good time. So let me tell you about this cone very quickly. Now, if you live in Sherwood, all we have been doing the last month is dodging cones, right? And yet somehow we respect the cone. We do respect the cone. And imagine the chaos that would ensue if we did not respect the cone. And this was the wisdom that I imparted on the executive team, the value of this cone. And so in return, they have given me a cone with some notes on it. I am very appreciative and thankful. And I am contemplating, there's a certain ring to Lions Custom Cones. Abby does not think this is a good idea.
It's just been done.
It's, she's telling me it's been done. At any rate, I have so enjoyed it and we have work left to do. I cannot wait for graduation Friday night. Adam, you have done a masterful job this year of leading your faculty and your enterprise forward. And the kids this year knocked it out of the park. And they don't knock it out of the park unless there's really good leadership at the campus. And I want to thank you for that, for sure. Looking forward to graduation, my last one ever. And it's going to be a sunny night. That is awesome. And Adam raised the tent for me because last year I had to duck out from under the tent. And so the tent is raised, so life is good. And I'm really, really happy. So thank you all for this incredible opportunity with this incredible school district. I am so happy for Dr. Downs. He is coming in and, you know, he's extraordinary. I've gotten to know him and this district is moving forward in a great, great way. So thank you.
Good job. All right, we have a little parting gift for you, but Christina's gonna do the honors because she was afraid I might start crying again. She's probably right, so. The portrait of myself.
I know it's with me crying. So I wrote all my warm fuzzy stuff on a cone, so I'm not gonna have to cry. So one of the things that Dr. Lyon first said when he announced his retirement is that he would always be a Bowman. And I think all of us in this room have seen his work over the last 2 years and his commitment to the staff and would agree that that's true. And also those of you that know Dr. Lyon really well know that he goes out of his way to get to our high school sports, particularly basketball. I'm not sure he missed a home game his entire 2 years in this district. And so we wanted to do a little something on behalf of the board and really the whole Sherwood School District community to make sure you know you will always be a Bowman. And I want to thank Raheem Tufts and Adam Mitchell for helping get this gift together. So tonight we have for you So this is an actual Sherwood School or Sherwood High School basketball jersey that has been retired with the number 24 to honor your retirement year with your name added to it. So you are now and forever a true Bowman.
Pretty cool. And she didn't spell your name plural. She didn't spell your name with an S at the end.
Oh, right, right.
It's a huge win. He's just one lion. Yeah, it's a huge night to celebrate for all of us. And I know it is, even though there's tears, it's a big celebration to be able to retire and to put a cap on such an amazing career. It's a huge achievement. I just wish all of you guys the best. I'm so grateful again for your service to this community. I know our kids are so much better for it. So we thank you. All of us thank you. We would normally move into our board report section. I'm not sure if you would have a report tonight. Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's your last report. You
Yeah.
can give another one.
I covered it. I'm good.
All right. The district's squared away. We also have SEA on here tonight. I don't actually know if they're giving a report tonight. Are you giving a report? All right, Mr. Kyler Pace is going to join us.
All right, well, that is a lot to follow up. Good evening, Dr. Lyon, Chair Hawkins, and board directors. I've gotten to be here at the last school board meeting of the year for the last few years, and it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys take the time to honor our retirees every year during this time. And it's just so clear that we have such a high quality of people that work here and our teachers and staff and the impact that they have on kids in the community. And one thing that stood out to me tonight is just the longevity that we have. You know, people, they come to work here and they stay for a long time. And that wouldn't happen if this wasn't a really great place to work. So to all of our retirees, congratulations, job well done, and we wish you the best. I think if you were to ask teachers, May and June are the busiest, craziest
6 weeks out of the school year. I was talking to my mom last weekend and she said, well, do you have anything going on? What's happening? I'm like, oh, well, not a whole lot, and I said, I could try to explain it to you, but unless you've done it, I don't think, you can't really get it. But nevertheless, I reached out to some colleagues to ask them, what are the things happening in the last 6 weeks of school that make this time of the year busy? So here's a list of some things that happen across the district between May and June. We have state testing, student-led conferences, memory books, 5th and 8th grade promotion planning, graduation, end of the year assessments, end of unit assessments, class celebrations, field trips, 504, IEP and transition meetings, volunteer appreciation, retirement parties, class placement, the junior rose parade, talent shows, 5th and 8th graders visiting their new schools, printing curriculum for next year, getting report cards done, packing up classrooms, staff versus student basketball games, Move It Up Day, hiring and interview committees, school carnivals, and many more things on top of that. And as I looked through that list, I thought to my first thought was, well, nobody's actually doing all of those things. But then when I looked, there are a lot of people doing almost all of those things. It's just a really busy time of year. And to all of our teachers, we hope that everyone has a great summer and is able to get some rest and relaxation as we finish up the school year. A little more specific for SEA, we are conducting our elections for our new officers next week. And for me personally, I am finishing out my term this year as president, and I am not seeking election for any offices next year. So there will be some new leadership, not only on our executive team, but with some of our building representatives as well. And I feel like we're at a good transition point. I'm feel good stepping away right now and letting someone else come in and with some new leadership. And I'm confident that our new leadership will work hard to maintain the relationships and the positive relationship that we have, not only with our district administrators, but with our board members as well. Last of all, just to finish up, Dr. Lyon, I want to thank you for the time that you have served us these last couple of years. And I echo everything else that everyone has already said. So I won't go too long. I'll help keep it brief for you. But I do just want to say I really appreciate how I know one of your first actions coming in was getting a meeting set up with us and meeting, and through everything that's happened the last couple of years with the budget and all the way up through this last week, we have been a priority to work together and work collaboratively. So we really appreciate that. And we hope to continue that. And we just wish you all the best as you continue on. And with that, I hope everybody has a restful and relaxing summer. Thank you.
All right, we'll go on down the line. Director Thornton, do you have any report this evening? No? All right. Director Mueller? Oh, all right. Director Carson?
Well, I do.
Okay.
No, we didn't meet very long ago, but in that time, my daughter just finished outdoor school down at Trickle Creek, and she's happy to report she had a fantastic time. And she got the rainy week, but it was fine. She still had fun. But that's it. But it was a good time had by all.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, this year-end meeting is always happy and sad, but it's mostly touching. It's happy for the seniors that are embarking on their next journey in life, but sad for the parents' hearts and teachers' hearts that are letting them go. It's happy for the retirees who are leaving to embark on their next and well-deserved journey, but sad for the students and coworkers' hearts who are sad to see you go. I'm wishing all of you, seniors and retirees, the best. And as one of my favorite verses say, may the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you all peace. Wishing everybody the best. Happy retirees and congrats seniors, I should say.
All right. I always think this time of year, I feel like we sound like a broken record. I'm always feeling like we are limping as parents across the finish line with our kids to get them to the end of the school year. And then every time I say that, I think if I'm limping, like I can't even imagine teachers must be like clawing their way across the line, because if it's that hard with a couple, it must be incredibly hard with as many as our educators deal with every single day. We are so grateful for you. We are also so excited though to have all the celebrations that Kyler was mentioning. It's so fun to be at carnivals and field days and graduations. And so I don't take for granted that we get to be a part of those activities. Very excited for 8th grade promotion and of course for the high school graduation. It's really very cool to get to sit up there with these kids who, quite frankly, I don't feel like I really have any part in them having such tremendous success and still getting to wish them well. It's amazing and it's really an incredible honor for us. So I'm super excited about it and also ready for the summer. And I hope all of you guys get to enjoy your summer and have a nice break. That's all I have to report on this evening. It's now time for us to begin hearing public comment. I don't actually even know if we have any. Okay, we're falling apart here at the end of the year too. We don't have any public comments, so we're gonna move through that section. And we're gonna move on to Miss Marlene Carroll. And I believe Melissa Matazar.
Be
is
brief.
Not here.
Be brief.
Oh, is she on Zoom? Okay. Can you correct that for me, Marlene? Matazara? How do you say that? You know.
Matazaro?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna talk about our third-party survey.
Yep, hopefully. It might be really brief.
Oh, yeah. Just touch it. And there's a blue thing that's a video blank, to the right and up. Down in the side of the gray box, there's a blue box. Never mind, I got you. I'm gonna show you though, you're gonna need to know them. No, it's number you do.
You'll have to teach me later.
We are going to take a brief 5-minute recess and we will be right back.
All right. All right, we're back. Okay, good evening, Dr. Lyon, Board of Directors. As you know, we went through a third-party survey, and our partners with Studer Huron Education. And tonight we have Melissa, our leadership coach from their organization. Hi, Melissa. And she is going to walk us through the results of the survey and kind of the purpose and give us a little more information. So with that, I'm going to let Melissa introduce herself and share the information with us. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear my sound okay?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Okay, super. And I can see that you can see me. I was so caught up in your meeting that I forgot to join the Zoom. I was just watching it. And I have to tell you, what a warm and positive and authentic celebration of some great work, some of it very recent and some of it over careers of some of the folks you were celebrating. So it was such a delightful celebration. Thank you for inviting me to be part of it. And I did take note of all of your mugs, Marlene, so I will also pay attention to Jeremy's advice. To get us started and walk through some of the information provided to you, as well as give you an opportunity to ask questions, I am grateful for the opportunity this evening. As Marlene has shared, we are part of an organization called Huron Studer Education. As you can see here and maybe have read in advance, we work with school districts, colleges, and universities around the country. And in fact, have started working with quite a few districts in your region in that corner of Oregon. And we think there's some really exciting synergy happening there. We are all former educators as well. I served in school districts as a teacher, principal, and district level administrator before coming to coaching about 10 years ago. And in different districts, we do different types of services, but starting with the surveys is not uncommon. Soliciting feedback from the people throughout your organizations and that you work with is a very common part. But for us, the survey is just a starting point to discussion. And in fact, we've already begun developing your leaders or continuing to develop your leaders to make really good use of the data, which is what we find to be most important. So in our work with Sherwood, as with other districts and leadership teams like yours, we focus on both culture and strategy. And so what we'll do this evening is hear a little bit about people's perceptions of the culture as they experience it. And then I'll also explain how we turn that into strategy for continuous improvement. One of the things that lately, I think in the past couple of years has hit people more than anything else we coach is the concept of bringing things into alignment. And especially following the pandemic and some of the transitions and challenges that went on, bringing folks back together in many of the ways you all just represented in your celebration of Superintendent Lyon and others. But this is hard work. It's not that we are trying to work differently. It's just not uncommon in systems as complex as school districts that we can be headed in various directions. And what is far more powerful is if we can be working in alignment. And in fact, asking for feedback from all employees and then from all parents and families was a first example of an alignment across your system that you have chosen to do. And so the way we think about the survey results we'll look at tonight is they are your baseline. While you may have surveyed different groups in the past, you've never asked these specific questions at this specific time. So this is your baseline. We'll look at those results today, and your leaders across the district have looked at them as well. in order to then take the next step, which we call rollout. And I'll walk you through what that looks like, because it's the conversations around the data that are far more powerful than the numbers that we'll review tonight. That set of discussions that occurs then yields some specific actions that people will commit to taking in order to continuously improve results. And that gets the cycle going and the flywheel going. One of the most important things I think I bring up frequently when looking at survey feedback is how important it is that we use the data not for overt celebration or punitively to punish anyone, but just to say, this is where we might want to focus because this is what we see in the data. So we want to be able to get more precise in the environment, and the data can help us in conversation with others generate really good insight about where to focus. Every school district could do a million different things to help make things continuously get better, but survey feedback can sometimes help us. Where are the most important parts for us to focus? So I'm going to start with the employee survey, and then I'll pause. And certainly if there are questions throughout, Marlene, you can probably better see that, or the chair can direct us. Feel free to interrupt, but I will pause here and there just in case there are clarifying questions. And then after the employee survey, we'll also look at the parent and caregiver feedback. So this spring, we used our employee experience survey, which assesses how employees perceive their overall work environment. And it's aligned to characteristics of the work environment that help people to be engaged, to be their most productive, to be, as some people say, their best selves at work. So that's what we're asking about. And it is all employees, not only teachers. Really, we encourage everyone in the district except the superintendent to take this survey. So when we look at the overall results, and I do this to give you a broad brush of what was received, and there's a few slides of this data, but I'll start with this one. You had over 500 participants. We did offer the survey in both English and Spanish, and there was not a lot of participation in Spanish, but at least one survey taker that way. The survey is scored on a 1 to 5 scale. So for every item, you can score it 1, strongly disagree, all the way up to 5, strongly agree. And the metric we encourage people to use for improvement over time is just that overall mean or average of the items across the survey. And so the baseline for Sherwood in this survey is a 3.86 out of 5. You're probably saying, well, is that good? And I will just say that's where you're starting. So there are different organizations that start in different places, and this is a strong place to start, and there's room for improvement. There's opportunity here. Rather than going through all of the different items on the survey, which can get a little overwhelming, I like to focus people's attention on what were the highest rated items, the strengths that came out in the quantitative items. And they're really things you should be proud of. People are proud to work in Sherwood. They see the impact that their work has on those you serve. They have clear expectations and feel genuine care and concern from their immediate supervisor. So those are pretty foundational areas that I think you should be delighted to see that they are highly rated. That doesn't mean we would stop doing whatever we're doing to achieve those ratings, but really part of the conversation leaders engage in now is why? Why do we score so highly there? What are we doing that we need to keep doing? And similarly, in areas of opportunity or areas where there were lower ratings comparatively, they tend to be around the organization-wide experience, which is not uncommon. Just like everything else, people feel better about their immediate environment than perhaps their whole organization or their county or their state. However, there's opportunity, I think, to continue to explain how resources are allocated and how communication occurs so that it's timely, which of course is defined differently by everyone taking the survey, which is again why you have to talk about it, so that we can do that. Also, you see this opportunity to give input on decisions that affect my job. That's a really rich item, and another one that it's really valuable to engage in conversation in, because we can assume we know what are the decisions people want to be involved in, but until you ask, it's really, you should be cautious about the assumption. I'll pause right there just because I won't say more about the administration of the survey or this type of look at results. And if there are questions, I'd be happy to answer them before I go into some of the other data from employees.
Do we have a number of the percentage of participants of the employee? What percent it did participate in the survey?
So at any given time, it's a little hard to tell how many employees we have exactly, but we have around 550, 560 employees. So nearly 100%, nearly.
And that actually states something about the trust within the system already. Another couple forms of data that we will see. The next one is something you may be familiar with in non-educational settings. It's a metric not used as frequently in schools and districts, but we think it has some merit. And that is something called a Net Promoter Score. That means how willing are our employees to speak to people in their lives and say, this is a great place to work. How willing are they to recommend the school district or their school or department as a great place to work? And the strange thing about Net Promoter Score is you can score from -100 to +100. So the way in which the rating is calculated is by asking people their willingness to recommend, this time on a scale of 0 to 10. And what you'll see is for both your overall organization or the district and for the school, you're in the positive territory. So in other words, the willingness to recommend is between 0 and 100. You'll notice it's a little higher for my individual school or department than it is for the overall organization. Again, that's not surprising. You'll see as if you're able to see in the bottom of that, you're ranging from good to strong performance already. And so I think this is the starting point in terms of Net Promoter. I would just also mention that when you think about recruiting next employees, your current employees are among your best resource. And so knowing how they're feeling about the experience can be very important to even your recruitment efforts in communities today. And then the last thing we'll share, in addition to the 15 to 17 numeric items that are rated 1 through 5, we also ask 3 open response questions on both surveys. What's working well? What could be improved? And is there anyone you would recognize for their support to you and doing a great job at work? And so those comments are shared only with the direct leader or supervisor of that group, of that portion of the organization. Anonymous comments can range from the highly productive to the highly unhelpful. And so what I like to do in sharing with a board like yourselves or looking across the district from the superintendent's lens is what are the themes in what people have written? Because we're not using those individual comments to try to tackle individual problems. We're trying to figure out what's the context in which people have answered these items. So unsurprisingly, I think given what you saw in the numeric items, strong relationships, a sense of trust, the environment being supportive and leaders being responsive. And I think as was echoed throughout the entire meeting until I arrived, the notion of a focus on student success comes through. And so by themes, we mean mentioned by people across the system. And we're trying to pull up to see what is more generalizable than individual. In terms of improvements, actually I see a good deal of structural stuff. And so thinking about when and how employees are placed in roles and how does that work? How are our meeting structures helping or hindering us? Sometimes our communication is delayed, or we're not clear even about when decisions are communicated, who's taking action, et cetera. Interesting desire to make sure when we are recognizing people that it's really authentic. And I think in a culture where there is potentially a lot of gratitude and recognition, we've got to work to make sure that's sincere. And then some desire for some training on better ways to interact with and support parents and families. So those are the kinds of territory we will be in. As your leaders have received these results, they had the opportunity to start conversation with all or parts of their school or department teams to try to dig under the data to what's the genuine experience and how can we be helpful. I think part of what you're also probably picking up on, and this is an important part of our work, is that it's that relationship and discussion that occurs with the leader and the team that's really going to generate the best ideas for what we would want to continuously improve. And so this is the process that's kicked off. And very likely that last part about reporting back, here's what we're going to work on at this school or in this department. We will likely be introducing your next superintendent to this process and picking that up as we return to school, most likely, once we've had an opportunity to fully debrief and engage him. So I'll pause there if there are any other employee questions before we turn to the parent results.
I think you can go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, parent survey, parent and caregivers. So that certainly could represent other adults in the home or in the child's life who are significant caregivers. And again, it's what's the experience they're having, either around their child specifically or just as another member of the community. They're able to take the survey for multiple schools if they have children at multiple schools, because again, the experience might be different. And in this case, you had over 1,000 participants. So the rate of response is probably not as high as employee. We have seen this nationwide, that we're getting somewhat depressed numbers in our parent communities. And at the moment, we're ascribing that to potentially over surveying in life. And also when this is the first time, folks may not have known why it would be valuable to do. And so part of the next steps and the engaging in conversation with school site councils is so people see this is really valuable. It won't take long and we're going to use your feedback. So the overall mean is actually very similar. It's 3.83 out of 5. So not a whole lot of difference between employees and families. Again, we did offer the survey in more than English, and we did have survey takers in Spanish. Your greatest strengths are some foundational things that we're treated with respect at your schools. Very significant. That the supplies, equipment, the environment is safe and clean and well maintained. And so those are some of the just initial, I would call them like building blocks to where you want to get further. But that one about respect is really critical. When we think about where we might focus and where action might be taken in the next year, you can see it's a lot about communication, particularly around progress and positivity. And so in some cases, again, this is a great example. I regularly receive feedback from school staff. Really, people will often say, my gosh, but we send so much stuff home. And some of you as parents might be thinking, gosh, I get plenty of this. But it's important that we check in with our parents and families about what type of information are you looking for. For example, in some cases, it's not academic progress, it's social progress. It's, are they making friends? Are they nice? Things like that we might not have a system yet for communicating about. And certainly school rules being enforced consistently tends to be a challenge, and coming out of the pandemic and the different ways in which kids are experiencing school, I'm not surprised to see that. And very often that also goes back to communication. In Net Promoter Score, you continue to be on the positive side of things. You'll notice these are slightly lower than the experience of employees recommending Sherwood as a place to work. For parents or caregivers to recommend Sherwood as a place to send your children, just a slightly lower than employees, but definitely in good territory and room for continued growth. As far as the themes from parents and caregivers, you can see a lot of the things that I would hope you would reflect and feel yourselves: dedication, support, and a sense of community. Some of your very specific programming gets called out, deeper learning, things like that. And I thought this was fascinating and important. Your handling of events, whether they be like a specific in the moment event or some of the challenges that many districts have faced. Overall, again, not everyone, but from a general sense, there's an appreciation for how you've interacted in this past year with your parents and families. For improvement, a lot of this is consistency. So if you go back to the arrow and alignment slide, we're kind of in the same territory, which is when a parent or family experiences the school district, they'd like some more consistency in grading, in curriculum and curriculum delivery. Technology in classrooms can go in either direction. Sometimes that is brought up by people who want more. Sometimes that's brought up by people who want less. So again, important to dig in. Continuing to ensure there are platforms for homeschool communication, for supporting kids' mental health and learning styles, and even consistency across teachers, which again is a space that many districts focus on to try to bring consistency, not meaning exact, but some sort of consistent experience. If those of you who are parents have seen what can happen as children move through grades or move through schools, just trying to bring a little bit more of that sense of stability and continuity across. And similarly, and perhaps Marlene can detail this further if needed. These are results, the parent and caregiver results, that teachers need to see. Everyone needs to see. In fact, some of your departments need to see. So the folks who are responsible for keeping the building clean and well-maintained need to see this. And they need to be thinking about what's our continuous improvement action. But we also encourage checking. And I think in Sherwood, your school site councils were an ideal place to have some of this conversation, which is to get underneath the data and really talk about what would make the experience better. And so that is something that folks have kicked off. And again, with the summer here, there'll be time for leaders to reflect and summarize and prioritize, and really then communicate back to the community, likely in the fall. Here's where we're taking next steps, just to show the value of the survey taking. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I think I know the
We
answer.
got a
to this one,
question.
But I think I know the answer to this one, but just to be clear, I'm looking at this narrative feedback themes on the last page for results of, and then results of the rollout process. I guess my question is, when the teams look at this data, I would assume, but I don't want to assume, the data will look different at middle, high, and elementary. Those could be improved. So all that data will trickle down to the right people at the right table. True or false?
True.
Okay. Okay. I just want to be clear that they're not all the same. Thank you.
Yeah. No, the schools get the individual data. So it's not separated by level, but actually just by school and building so that they can target. They also, when they met with their site councils, for example, they met with like Hawksview met with Hawksview Site Council and kind of dug into, well, what does this mean when parents say, that they'd like more connection or positive recognition. And what does that look like to do some of those things? And so parents really, well, I can speak to the high school because I went to that one. They spoke about, like, we see a lot of communication of the overall, but we don't actually know how our kid is doing, if they're doing well, and what that looks like. There was a time where, you used to send home postcards, and and they talked about that, or like that happens at, maybe at the younger levels, but it gets lost at high school. You have a bigger kid caseload. And so they were kind of sharing some of those things that they think would be actionable steps that we could take to support maybe having a more positive experience in that area. Melissa, how'd I do?
Sounds right to me.
So is the plan the schools are gonna work together, come up about whatever handful of action steps, whatever the number is. Is a survey, we're gonna do the same questions again, like in the spring? Is it every 2 years, or what's the rollout plan? What does that look like?
Right now we have it every spring. Yep. And yes, we will have some actionable steps that we'll share with you. They'll be a part of like our school improvement planning that our administrators kick off on June 18th. And really, they spend some time digging in over the summer, and then we'll come and share those with you, those actionable steps. And they'll share them with their community, both staff and families, for their schools.
Well, first off, I want to commend the Sherwood School District for doing this, because it's a very vulnerable place to put yourself, where you really ask people for feedback on how you're doing. That's a tough thing to do, and it's really hard to receive the feedback. Sometimes it's helpful, and I love that we're taking that step, but it can be just really hard to read it initially, and find out where your challenges are. I hope we also are focusing on the things we're doing really, really well, because those are hard things to accomplish as well. And so we need to celebrate those things. I know I have had many parents ask me, are the survey results available? Like, are you getting to view them? Are we able to view them? Are they going to be on the district website? And I'm not sure what the answer to that question is. So maybe you can answer that for us.
Melissa, do you want to take this one?
So generally our recommendation is for presentations like this, for the opportunity once an individual school has gone through and determined that we would share out with all parents or all employees some of the high level results in this way. We don't necessarily recommend placing the full reports or all of the data more publicly, only because, to your point, it's pretty vulnerable, and we want to balance that transparency with the capacity of leaders to really use the information. So I think it's certainly different districts choose to do different things, but we've typically encouraged and I think in our even planning, following our opportunity to talk to the board, some communication going out with that highlight of here's what we heard, here's what we're working on, those kinds of things to both groups.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Are there any other questions? Well, thank you for taking the time to be here with us this evening. I understand it's late where you're at, so we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. And yes, kudos to you for seeking the feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Marlene, you're just gonna stay put right where you're at.
That's right.
And roll into some action items for us. So take it away.
All right. So last month, we came to you with our high school math +1 course instructional materials adoptions, and that was around probability and stats, AP stats, and financial algebra. And tonight we are looking for your approval.
Excellent. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I would like to adopt the proposed +1 mathematics courses of instructional materials as presented by Marlene Carroll.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Up next.
Okay. If Keeps going. All right. So we also shared with you our secondary science adoption committee's work on 6th through 8th grade science, and then our life science classes for grades 9 through 11, and our physical science classes grades 9 through 11. And again, tonight we are here to ask for your approval.
Go ahead.
I recommend that we make a motion to adopt the proposed secondary science materials as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Sorry.
All right, last call. Okay. Again, last month, we came to you with our challenges around our high school diploma offerings. And we asked for the board to do first read on the recommendation that we would revise our diploma options to be a Sherwood diploma with honors and our valedictorian process. And tonight, I bring that to you for second read and approval.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the revised board policy IKF reflecting the changes proposed by the diploma committee.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for all your work on that, and please thank your teams for all their work on that as well. We really appreciate it. All right, our final event of the evening. Policy updates.
All right, we have the policy updates to adopt. There was no feedback by board members between meetings. OSBA did submit an additional change to policy EBBB, and we updated that version of the policy in the packet to be adopted this evening.
Chair Hawkins, I move that we adopt the recommended and required policy updates as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, that concludes our meeting this evening. The next meeting of the board will be held on July 31st, 2024. Once again, congratulations to our retirees and all of our graduates. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy your summer.